Counter-Strike 1.6 is that game where like I would just spend hours with my friends in a gaming cafe. For me, Esports and Gaming Association encompasses content, encompasses events, and it will encompass a lot of expertise, right? From both an influencers, an MC and cast perspective, and a developer and business executive perspective. Gaming, yes, absolutely. Dubai is a huge touristic hub. Whenever Dubai comes up with events, they know how to run events very well, given whether that's a conference they've made or an exhibition they've made, whether it's in tech, tech, tourism, other industries, whatever it is. The recent initiative of His Highness Sheikh Hamdan, it's a 10-year plan. It's a 10-year plan to do 30,000 jobs in the gaming industry, contribute $1 billion of GDP increase in the gaming industry alone to Dubai, right? Just from gaming.
All right, everyone, how you doing? We're back with another episode of, all things gaming and esports. I was going to say it doesn't really have a name, but this podcast is going to be in partnership with the Global Game Show and brought to you by Time of Games. We're very appreciative of both brands. Do join us. We'll be both on stage in December in Dubai for the Global Game Show. Who am I? Who are you? We're going to get into that, but we're going to talk about all things gaming and esports, and we'll see you on stage in December. My name is Kevin Sultani from GMA Group and co-founder of Esports and Gaming Association. I'm here with my good friend, Mohammed. I'll let you intro yourself because you do many other things in gaming and esports.
I don't think we'll end if I start,
I should have maybe started with Mohammed Guild MM.
That's a better see because you got to throw in the Twitch name, the gamer name.
So my good friend and partner, Mohammed Guild MM. For those that you may not know, that second word or that second tag, gamer tag, take it away. Tell us who you are and what we're doing here.
First of all, this is actually a long time because we were supposed to do a podcast. I don't know how long now, in the last 1 year. We'll get into all of that. We've been working now on this thing, this cool project that we'll talk about. And it's funny enough now, after we finally threw out everything, we're now finally getting into this publicity stuff.
Hey, good things take time to bake, but we've been in stealth for a year. And hey, thanks to the Global Game Show for bringing it all forward. But
sure. So
tell us a little bit about Mohammed and Guild MM as well.
To start,
two different people.
Yeah, two different people. So to start, my name is Mohammed Guild MM Yaseen. Of course, that Guild MM is not my middle name, but
sure is now.
Will have to be. So yeah, I go by Guild MM. If you find me on social media, on Instagram, Twitch.tv, and any other platform. And so yeah, I'm a Twitch streamer, Twitch partner streamer, co-founder as well with this amazing project that we got, Esports and Gaming Association. And then primarily I've worked, we work with government initiatives. We try to help find our way into building the scene here in the gaming industry, putting our mark out here in the region, the Middle East, MENA in total, right? North Africa as well. So it's quite interesting because I'm coming in as a influencer, but I also come in from the business development standpoint, right? I can be the influencer and the executive,
right? Which is
very rare that you find someone who, most people are either a streamer or they're on the business side. There's very few people who can do both. And I attest a lot of that to also being someone who has my own companies, right? I got a couple of companies, family businesses that I'm running in many different business verticals and industries. So in a quick summary, that's what I am, but I want to keep it more focused on the gaming. We'll talk about another episode where we can dive into all the family business and everything. For now, we talk about the passion, which is gaming.
So, okay, look, it's a long history of games and gaming in both of our lives. It's been around for a long time. But I think the most important question is, before we learn about how Mohammed became Guild MM, what was your earliest favorite game that you put the most hours into?
The most hours into, okay, that would be tough because there's so many of those. But I could say the earliest games that I played, when I was maybe 4 or 5. I started maybe on the Sega. The Sonic games on the Sega. Those the earliest games I could still remember. I'm sure there's some other ones that we played on the Sega, but that's the earliest. My favorites were the Crash Bandicoot games, all of those in the early PlayStation 1 era. Tekken, Street Fighter, you even used to watch the movies when they'd come out. But if I would say what was the first game that I put lots and lots of hours to, it has to be probably from an early age, SmackDown, Here Comes the Pain. Okay, any wrestling fan, if you haven't played this game, you need to go and find a way to play it today. You could probably still find it, but that was the game I threw hours into creating my character, putting my wrestler together.
Yeah.
You know, that wrestling game we used to play a lot with my cousins, my brothers, my friends. It was fun. And you know, after that, you know, the whole era of different games from shooters to RPGs. But if you were telling me which one was the earliest game I put hours into, probably that one. I was maybe only about 8 or 9 when that one came out.
And what game, and maybe it's the same game, what game were you best at in early on? Like no one could get near you. Or like if they played you, you knew you were going to dominate. So you would make them bets for food and candy or whatever kids do. Like what was the game that you own?
I would say Need for Speed.
Oh.
Need for Speed.
That's difficult. That's not like an easy game to dominate.
It was like either Need for Speed or it would have been wrestling games. Right?
Got it.
Those were the games I spent. You know, I was very good at shooters. Like, you know, now I don't think I'm there now anymore. Like I've lost the skill now. But back then, like I was good at shooters. I would say I was the best at shooters. You know, I was a very good player.
Yeah.
But the games that I excelled at the most were the racing games.
Yeah.
Racing and any wrestling arcade like game.
Yeah.
Those were the games that no way, you can't beat me.
So we learn things about each other, guests, podcasters, whoever's on this side or that side of the table when you're in this setting. So I just learned something new. But you may not know that my earliest game where I grinded on probably put more hours on this game than anything I've ever done in my life. I've never worked as hard on a job. I've never given my family time, girlfriends, friends, anything other than the time I put into World of Warcraft. Yes. From 14 to 18 or 19 years old, so from high school to the first year of college, I played more World of Warcraft than I did do anything in my life. I played a lot of tennis. I did a lot of taekwondo, soccer, basketball, but I played more World of Warcraft than all of those probably combined.
Wow, okay.
Yeah, you didn't know that. Wow, exactly, wow.
Yeah, exactly, like, to use the term. But that's funny because like I would imagine you were like a Call of Duty guy because I played MMO games, right?
Sure,
I mean, one of them is in my name, Guild MM.
Yeah.
For those who don't know, it's called Guild Wars, right? Guild Wars, the franchise. But like, you know, I remember sinking a lot of hours into Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2, right? In Rust, in High Rise, and you know, those trying to get those 360s.
Counter-Strike was our earliest grinding game.
Yeah.
But then this beautiful game, Halo, came out. Mm-hmm. Halo on the original Xbox came out, and my friends, our group of friends, I would say other than single player like World of Warcraft, Halo was the most time I put into a game as a friend group.
Yeah.
And I was always the second best.
Okay.
My friend John was the first best. But I was a strong 2. I would never fall to 4. I could barely get to 1 on an odd day. John was John. He would dominate everybody. And everybody, it was John, Kevin, and everybody else. So John, you know who you are. You'll get this clip, but...
The rematch.
The rematch, I mean, years later, I don't even know. My fingers are slow now. But it was John, Kevin, and everybody else. Halo.
Okay.
So you didn't know that about World of Warcraft and me. I grinded World of Warcraft. What a game. What a game.
For me, it's funny you mentioned Counter-Strike, because for me, Counter-Strike was that friend group game that we had.
Yeah.
So when we were in like 5th or 6th grade, I remember there used to be this place up here in Jumeirah Road. I think it's still there. It's called Beach Center.
Okay.
And they used to have this gaming cafe, and they used to have all these sorts of games. But we'd always go there to play Counter-Strike 1.6. So we would go there, we'd make teams with like 10 to 12 over there, 10 to 12 people. We'd split into teams and we just play Counter-Strike 1.6. It was just play for hours and hours, then go down, grab something from the food court, go back up and continue to play. Even some days, like we weren't all playing the same game, but it was just hanging out together. So Counter-Strike 1.6 is that game where like I would just spend hours with my friends in a gaming cafe. And then eventually World of Warcraft kind of slowly pulled half of the group away. And then bit by bit, the whole group was playing World of Warcraft. But like those games were like, the fun part was like being with a group of people playing them, right? I don't think it would have been a fun if you played alone. And World of Warcraft, if you don't play at least with friends, it's
tough.
Yeah, it's tough. Like, because back then that game is, I played recently vanilla World of Warcraft. And I'm like, this would have been tough if I played back then without anyone. Like, it's not
very tough.
Yeah.
Yeah. So take us from the kid gamer coming into high school and college, and then learning about this new world of streaming and the business. And the gaming business is not small. It's bigger than Hollywood. It's bigger than music. It's bigger than art. It's bigger than all of them. And yet it gets this kind of bad reputation from the older generation, our parents. Both of us, our families come from the Middle East. Not easy to convince mom and dad that you want to go into the business of gaming. And yet, take us through that progression. I think it's important that younger generation kids that are going to hear this, that look like you, feel like you, talk like you, you've traveled abroad, same with me. Take us how Guild MM was born.
Okay.
When was it born? When was this gamer tag chosen? And I'll give you my gamer tag later, but I don't use it anymore. But take us how Guild MM was born and going into the business of gaming, which is streaming world and brands and all of that.
Yeah. So like for me, obviously I started out, I played a lot of games, right? Like I wasn't one genre person, right? I played shooters, I played RPGs, MMOs, all sorts of games, arcade fighting games. So I think for me, there was always that interest in not just gaming, but then content creation, right? When YouTube was first coming out and we were seeing all these first generation YouTubers putting out videos, I always saw that and like, I want to do that, right? In our region of the world, like it was already back then still sort of not a concept that people would accept in Western countries, right? In the US and Europe. And so like it was possibly no one's going to believe you when you're a kid here in this part of the world. So for me, passion was there from the start. Where Guild MM was born, the name actually comes from a game called Guild Wars. It's the Guild Wars franchise. The first Guild Wars was released in 2004. And so I remember playing the beta of this game and finished up the beta and I was like, yeah, I'm gonna buy this game. Like it's so much fun. Bought the game. I remember it was like technically the first like major MMO that I bought because World of Warcraft came out later that year. So I was moving from RuneScape to Guild Wars and I needed a name. I'm not very creative in names, to be honest. So I really loved the game and I was like, you know what? I'll take the guild from Guild Wars and everyone knows me growing up as MM, right? Mohammed, like it was a name that people called me. So MM and Guild, I just combined it to make Guild MM. And I didn't know that would be my tag later when I got into streaming, but it stuck with me from Guild Wars days. So from 2004, really that name was born. And then to get into streaming, funny enough, at some point in my life, I was like, yeah, this content creation doesn't work out. I know that the industry is huge. I was like, yeah, I know gaming is bigger than all of these industries combined. But it was like a dream at that point.
When was this that you were like, I should start streaming? College?
This was in, I had
pre-college?
by then I probably graduated college, but it was still, it was around 2019.
Okay,
Pre-COVID. And basically at that point, I was very much involved in the gaming communities that I was a part of. In Guild Wars 2 as well. By then, Guild Wars 2 came out in 2012. I still play that to this day. So in Guild Wars 2, I helped build the trading community, right?
Huge.
So it was still something, that people weren't aware of too much, how to make money in the game, right? Use that in-game knowledge to then get the stuff that you want in the game, right? So me and a group of people, like we were like trying to educate people on this, right? And at the time, I think till now, unless someone has beaten me, but I was the richest player of the game, right? Unless someone else is beating me, I don't know, but I should still be the richest. But
so I want to stop it because when you say the richest, some people that are casual gamers like FIFA or
Sure.
NBA 2K. They don't understand that. I came from World of Warcraft, and not to go super far ahead into like Web3 gaming, but we
Yeah.
know that there's in-game currencies, in-game economies. Take it back
Yeah.
to traditional like guild wars
Yeah.
and World of Warcraft. When you say the richest,
So
the business inside of the game is a whole nother world.
Yes.
And then when you say you created the trading marketplace,
Yeah.
that you were a businessman in the game.
yeah.
This isn't normal.
Yeah.
No, it's not normal. Don't try to like downplay.
What do you mean not normal?
No. I'm saying
Is it?
I was a very big miner in World of Warcraft, because you could mine
Yes,
gold,
yeah.
and then you would stock gold, and then people
sell it.
want gold, and
Yeah.
you would loan it out. That's not normal, bro.
Yeah, but yeah.
We were thinking a little different, because
Different,
my
yeah.
friends were just gaming to game, and they didn't have money, so they would have to go. I was the guy that thought of, oh, he's gonna need money soon.
That's how I thought of it.
So when
yeah.
you said trading, I think that's super important, because there's now Roblox and V-Bucks. I would say Fortnite, V-Bucks, totally different. Robux, there's a lot of kids thinking like that again. But this was like 20 years ago.
Yeah.
You know, so
And then
when you say you created trading, explain that.
So basically, I started playing also Guild Wars 2 from Guild Wars 1. Like I just jumped in, followed the betas, and so I never really stopped playing the game. A few breaks here and there. But when I started in Guild Wars 2, you know, I was playing PvP, player versus player games. I was, you know, doing the dungeons and everything. But every single game I've played, I've always had an element of economy in it, right? Each game has its own in-game economy, in-game currencies, in-game items, materials. You know, it's a whole world in the game, right? And
sure is.
some of this does not translate to real money. Unless there is a valuation, I'm sure, but like it's all within the game. It's all within the game's compliance. But for me, it was like, I always had that interest in like how to get this much money, how to do this, and then how can we use that to do something with it.
Yeah.
Right. So I started out by like, you know, flipping items in the game. It was like something simple. This item is in demand, so I'm gonna buy it. And then sell it later when it goes higher, because maybe it might be used for something later. I'm going to speculate that maybe this will be imported in an update later. So stuff like that, right? Then I found something in Guild Wars 2, which I probably am the one who revolutionized this in this game, which was basically there's like these top tier weapons. They're called legendary weapons. And these legendary weapons are like the best weapons you can get in the game. And so, but to make them, there's a couple of things you have to do, such as do the world map exploration.
Right.
And you can't buy that. You actually have to do it for your character. And I was like, you know what? I don't want to fully explore the game's map to get this item and get the weapons. So what I did was I stocked up enough gold by continuing my trading, and you could actually still buy the weapons from the market. Like there's a marketplace, you could list the weapons. They go for thousands of gold, right? So you need to be really rich to be able to just buy them instead of just doing the hours of getting all these materials and getting them. So I was like, okay. So clearly I wanted to just buy it outright. Maybe there's a demand for this, right? So I figured out I could go to someone. I'm gonna supply you all the materials to make this weapon, but the few items that you actually need to do that you cannot really bypass, can you go do those things on your character? And then I'll translate that map exploration item that's needed into money, and I'll pay you gold for that item. So basically I had friends doing their own map completion. They'd get their own item, and then they'd be like, okay, I have one spare one. I can craft the weapon for you. I'll be all right, here's my materials. I'll pay you whatever equivalent you think is fair. So I would pay them, for example, an amount. At that time, there was like, no one knew this. So I had to like figure out what's a price that's worth it for you to go spend 20 hours doing this.
Right.
Or like 300 gold, 400 gold, and it started increasing a lot when people figured out I was doing this. And then I just give them the thing. They'd give me the weapon. I'd have the weapon, and then I'd sell it and then make more profit. And then I started scaling it up. So suddenly I had I was like having 50 to 60 people a month running around doing these map explorations, getting me the weapon, and then I'd give them the gold for doing that service. And of course, I basically all I had to do was give them the materials that I can at least contribute.
Right.
And just pay them for the service of the other stuff that you can't bypass. So I was like doing this 50, 60 people. Eventually it grew to the point where I was getting enough of these items and listing them, making so much gold that I decided I need to actually put this money somewhere. So then what did I decide to do? We have this game mode in Guild Wars 2 called World versus World, which is basically servers against each other. It's like a battleground where servers can fight, and every week the matchups get switched up. Servers are in the first tier, there's servers in the second, third, and fourth tier. And I was like the financier for my server. Like I was like the bank funding the server. And then eventually it grew so much, I was financing other servers. And it was basically like, here's 10,000 gold, your guild, your group of 10 to 20 players, come fight for my server and let us get to number 1.
Why am I laughing or smiling? Right? Because I did the same thing in World of Warcraft in a different way, different currency, different meaning, blah, blah. Why am I truly smiling and laughing is that this was over, 10, 20 years ago. And now kids are doing this in Roblox.
Yeah.
And if anybody ever tells me that gaming was bad and took away from teaching, schooling, and this and that, I'll tell them this story. And now I know you as a businessman, and I know you as a human, and I know how good you are as a businessman and as a human. So don't go tell me that gaming doesn't teach you anything and just does bad and rots your brain and all of that. Because if you just heard that story, it taught him economy, it taught him banking, it taught him economics. So economy of in-game economics of how to like buy, sell, buy high, buy low, sell high, trade, math, a lot of math, engineering, because you knew you had to do this for that to build this, and then sales. You had to talk to the employees, which you had employees, by the way. You understand that, right? You had employees. Sorry, that's weird, but you had employees. You literally, I smile, you literally said the word, I was paying 400 gold an hour. Just letting you know that. You even put a per hour rate on it. Whatever. Like, we don't even know what that's worth. But you created a fugazi number, but it had to be. And then when people caught on, just like if a corporation tries to steal your talent, they pay the person $10 an hour, you have to say $12 an hour. If someone comes up.
I want to continue that. So so that actually created a huge, that changed the game. When I started doing that, and funny enough, there were other also like trader driven players also slowly getting into it. And
did the game organizers never contact you? The producers?
I have been contacted.
Did they never contact you and be like, "Hey, kid"?
So there's a story actually here.
Good job.
No. There's a story here. So the game developers at the time I was doing,
"Hey, slow down, kid."
There was that slow down. So I actually got a few emails from the company.
That's hilarious.
It was actually an email saying like, we need to actually verify that you're not taking these items and selling them for real money.
Sure.
Because that's real money trading. That's against game policy in many games, right? So
although third-party marketplaces were selling like accounts. This has been happening for tens of years.
It happens right in our industry, right, in gaming.
Which I think is fine. By the way, I think that's fine. What? Just because I grew an account and I want to sell it?
I personally don't do it myself.
No, but do you think it's so bad that a kid grinds after 10 years, he wants to sell his account for $10,000? Well, that's a stretch. A couple thousand dollars.
Someone buys it, I guess, why not?
There's a buyer for everybody.
I don't have anything against it. I mean, there's some people that's life-changing money. I know people who played in World of Warcraft or Guild Wars 2 or even Elder Scrolls Online, and they made money selling off their accounts, and those were friends of mine online, and I knew their situation. I can understand why you want to sell these accounts because you need that money. Right? So I've never been in a position to have to do that. So I personally wouldn't do it myself. I can understand when people actually do it because it is game changing. Someone even once someone told me your account could be worth a couple $100,000. I'm like,
that's crazy.
That's a big number.
My friend John in World of Warcraft, the days we were stopping, in the weeks, we knew this was going to end, we got college now.
Right.
I said, let's check the amount of hours we played. That's disgusting, first of all. You never want to check the number of hours played. His was double. I said, John, we played together every day.
His was double.
When did you do that? That means when I slept at 3 a.m, he wouldn't sleep.
He would stay up another 6 hours.
But he had 3 accounts. He sold 2 of those accounts, and he doesn't need money. He just saw an opportunity. He was too shy to tell me. So again, when you want to talk about like gaming being bad, these were 14-year-olds thinking about this.
Yeah.
Right. So stay on the business with me here.
Yeah.
You created a trading platform.
So basically,
You were
after I
able
was
to make in-game money.
So I'll explain it this way. So once I got to the level where like, I was having people, like I was buying services from people, right? I was like, I'll pay you this much gold, do this for me.
Yeah.
And then I'll get the item that I want, and then I'll sell that item for more profit, and they're making money for something they wouldn't have made money on anyway, right? And it grew to the point where, I was very competitive in the server versus server thing. There's a whole sort of politics in there. It's like playing Risk with servers. So I was financing my server to be the number one server, and little by little, then you have other servers like we're competing with. Some of these servers I was competing with, like they actually had real money players putting like a player here is spending, I don't know, tens of thousands of dollars, right? Like I'm competing with someone who's putting actual money and buying items in the game and then sending those items to players, right? So I was doing this, and then the thing is that I saw the value was like, well, I'm actually also helping the players get, their own resources in the game.
You were the leader.
And then you have other leaders from other servers. Eventually there was a server I teamed up with, who's also, we kind of formed like an alliance. And basically our alliance was that we're going to maintain a tier dominance in the first tier, and we're going to kick whatever the third, because every tier has 3 servers against each other every week.
Yeah.
And then loser server goes down, second place stays, first place stays, or moves up a tier if they're under tier 1. So we literally created the system where our servers would maintain the tier 1 status, where we'd kick a server down to the second tier, another server comes up, kick them down to the second. So, and it was just, we free fall like that.
Replace the word gaming and Guild Wars with any other product in the world, and this story could have been true for any Wall Street company. You were talking about competition, making deals with competition for the betterment of your business, which was a business. You're talking about communication. You're talking about sales strategy. You're talking about negotiation. You're talking about economy, economics, and in-game currency. Did I say game in any of that?
No.
Did I say anything about what doing? Like, holy.
On that, I'll tell you. So what happened eventually me and that
blows my mind.
The other server leader, we actually ended up creating a guild, right? I call it Guild Trading Company.
Groups, new economies.
So a guild is like basically like your clan in a game, right? Like you have a certain amount of people you can invite to a clan. So we created a guild called Guild Trading Company. And basically we had stipulations. You had to have a certain amount of gold to be allowed to enter the guild. We had like requirements.
This is awesome.
We basically had like things that we wanted to do. For example, okay, we're going to do this and that. And if you're in the guild, you're being educated on like other things. We're finding other ways of how gold can be done.
And education.
Speculation. And then eventually from there, the guild grew to the point where the next step, okay, well, we figured out, this was all, by the way, on the North American servers.
Yeah, right.
We also had the European servers in Guild Wars 2, and we found out they were also behind, actually. So then we created another guild. The same model, Guild Trading Company. We created a guild called Grey Wolf Trading Company. Our guys from this guild, some of them went to the EU server to replicate that and bring that up and coming. And then these guys forged their own path. We're forging our path. What's the next step? Next up was creating the trading community, a public server where people come to learn how to make gold in the game, learn about the in-game resources, and third part, player-to-player trading in the server.
Of all those verbs, add expansion, globalization, demand, supply and demand, which is on the economy side, and education. Don't tell me gaming is just for games and gaming. I want to bring in, and thank you for sharing that. Like I said, you learn about people when you start getting into it. Yeah. So Guild Wars aside, you've now been playing this, you've created, you learned a lot of skills. Right. You learned a lot of skills doing that. Yeah. Now you're going into the business of streaming. You're going into the business of gaming.
Right.
Guild starts streaming. Okay, let's put Guild and Guild Wars to the side. I want to talk about the business. I want to talk about business of gaming, and then esports because it's competitive gaming. Okay? When you started streaming, it was 2019, right before COVID.
Yeah.
You started streaming. the COVID, the COVID bump hits. You get that first year's bump of all the streaming and all the brands. When did the brands start coming in? Now you know how to communicate to multiple amounts of people in different languages and different economies and different regions of the world. Game aside, what was exciting to you about streaming? And Twitch was in its prime.
Yeah.
Enter COVID. Everyone was gaming. Everyone was streaming. Everyone was watching streamers.
Yeah.
No matter what you played or did, IRL, just chatting, Guild Wars, that aside, when did you start to see streaming be like, oh, this isn't just gaming live broadcasting. This can be a business.
It's funny because I don't think if I didn't go through what I did in Guild Wars 2, I would even started streaming. Because by the time we ended up with creating a server on Discord, and that Discord server is the player-to-player trading Discord server in Guild Wars 2, right now today it has like 35,000 people in it, right? And I was still leading that when I started streaming. So I don't think it starts if I didn't go through that.
Right.
And I led that server for some years. Like I only recently this year, I stepped down from being an admin. And the old crew that was with me, leading it with me, like we all stepped down together. So I felt like I had to start that what if. There's always lots of what ifs in life, right? And for me, content creation, gaming is a what if. And I said, if not now, like when am I going to start? So I started, and a lot of my friends told me, like, you have maybe a personality to do it. Like, give it a try. You've done all of this in the game, and people talk to you, and you're very outgoing. Give it a try. So I gave it a shot. COVID hits literally a month later, because I started like November 17, 2019. That was the first time I went live.
3 months later, boom.
COVID. And I was like, okay, I bought a gaming PC setup. I spent $5,000. Like I spent money.
Yeah, sure.
I got a PC.
Sounds like a lot, but it's upper echelon, but it's expensive to have a good
spend
one.
more, right? But to just spend money on that for something that you don't even know will work.
Sure.
So I spent the money. I got the PC in March. COVID already started. The lockdown.
Good time not being, because that's probably like 10 grand months later, because you couldn't find anything.
Yeah.
You couldn't find equipment.
So I ordered the PC in February, get it in March. Lockdown happens in the same month.
Yeah.
So I started streaming occasionally on the platform. And there was a massive growth. And so I knew it was like, if I put in the work, this can work out very well.
Yeah.
So 2020 was a good year. I didn't stream that much in the months. Like I didn't stream every single month, but I streamed quite enough. About 6 months of the year, I was active. I had a break in the middle of the summer, which was still during COVID. Obviously, I had like a surgery, which we can talk about another time. And then when I came back, continued the year out again. And so by the end of the year, you could say I was around 3,500, 4,000 followers, which is not bad for a first year.
Sure.
For something that you haven't put in all that effort into, right? When I came back in 21 when I was streaming from Dubai, because I moved back here in 21, I started seeing a lot of brands come up. I started seeing companies reach out to me, some of them mobile companies, even those shady companies where
telcos.
So I didn't take all of them. I took a few ones that, everyone kind of has to do at their learning experience. And from around 2021, I'd say most of the sponsorships were coming in from Dubai-based events.
Right.
Hey, come here. Here's a few hundred dirhams.
Right.
It's not a lot, but I was like, well, I'm still building the brand out, right, at that time. And there was a few sponsorships from some games on stream, which was coming obviously from an international side. It wasn't really anything from here. It was more someone reaching out to me from my Twitch profile. But most of the building in 21 was tournaments. I did a lot of tournaments in Guild Wars 2.
And then you come back to Dubai. I want to shift gears to Dubai brands, esports. You're an ambassador to many different companies, but Dubai Esports Festival, I think that was the first year. It was COVID.
That was in 2022.
Okay, so right when you come back, exactly. So you're in Dubai now, you're streaming Dubai Esports Festival, which is an initiative. It's a big festival. You guys can look it up. Brands are slowly coming in. Slowly is the key word, right? We were all like, I've been in Dubai since 2017. Never thought about doing gaming here. I pitched Abu Dhabi Sports Council because there was no gaming
Yeah.
council or anything then. Didn't work out. We tried to do a Ramadan tournament. It didn't work out. I started doing more in Turkey. Turkey is obviously one of the biggest regionals. But enter esports post-COVID, the huge hype cycle. Brands are coming in. They're crushing it. You're an ambassador to Dubai Esports Festival for the last few years. Al Jalila Foundation, which is a medical foundation. They do cancer, breast cancer research, children's hospitals, all the like, from A to Z. Yeah. You're also their gaming ambassador.
Yes.
You're an ambassador in general, but gaming ambassador.
Specifically gaming ambassador.
So you do a lot of... So when you look at Mohammed's... I'm going to stop calling you Mohammed. McGill MM's... At the bottom, when they stream, streamers, you get those logos, right? Or at the top, and those do rotating banners. He has a couple of the names that I'm saying there. And now, 2-3 years later, hype cycle in Dubai has hit.
Yeah.
His Highness Sheikh Hamdan has announced the Dubai Initiative 2033. Would you, just short answer, would you have ever seen this possible when you left to America when you were young?
No.
That this country would have a gaming initiative from the top.
No, I didn't think it was possible. I didn't even think it was possible when I came back. Because when I came back in 2021, there was a scene for gaming influencers. Influencers in general, right? Just lifestyle influencers. That idea finally was getting accepted in the region in 2021. They had like their surge and like people are like, okay, this is clearly, there is a market for this, right? But gaming influencers were still not there yet, and gaming in general. But funny enough, like I come back and I found out that there was a scene. It wasn't as big. I think today it's getting bigger, but I watched it grow like in the last 4 years from 2021 till now. There's been more and more events and then leading to such initiatives. So no, of course, I didn't imagine it would actually get to this level.
Enter Esports and Gaming Association. Your company, I'm partnered with you there. And we started it very quietly, and yet it was at a perfect timing of His Highness's Gaming Initiative 2033. There's a couple things that that initiative says. You're more than welcome to look it up. It's very easy to understand. Esports and Gaming Association. I want to end on a high note on this podcast with, we heard your whole history, insane business savvy coming from games, now real hardcore business. Not that we put the gaming aside, but the streaming and the gaming and everything is a piece of that.
Right.
Content is one of the 3 pillars of that initiative. There's also code, which is technical, and talent, which is talent.
Right.
Esports and Gaming Association, in 30 seconds, what is it? What is it doing?
So EGA for short, our goal here is to help drive the scene in the gaming industry here, right? So we're going to be working on initiatives. We want to be able to contribute to initiatives that the government's putting out, whether these initiatives are like workshops, helping game developers accommodate to creating games, whether these workshops are for beginning companies like our starting indie companies, the gaming influencers perspective, the media training required, right? And we want to be able to help as well on the tournament side, being able to be a tournament support, whether that's bringing the talent to help make an event, whether that's bringing the companies, the stage presence, whether that's even in consulting in that area, in that field, and putting the event together and how to put the event together, because the presentation is important. So for me, Esports and Gaming Association encompasses content, encompasses events, and it will encompass a lot of expertise, right? From both an influencers and MC and cast perspective and a developer and business executive perspective. We come from 2 different sides of the spectrum. I come from more esports driven. You come from more game driven. Right. So Esports and Gaming Association, being able to consult, advise, invest, accelerate, incubate startups, talent, the code, talent, and content, which are the 3 pillars of His Highness's gaming initiative. We're going to be speaking at this conference where this podcast is being brought to you by and partnered with. EGA is going to be front and center. It'll be our 1st year anniversary. How funny is that? That a year ago in stealth, this is how it all started. A lot of hype has come here. Saudi has been winning. Okay, we're not talking about it. Everybody knows it. I don't care. This company also has headquarters in Los Angeles. Right. You
have lived in America, you know that esports is America.com. Let's be honest. Like it's still where the energy is. That's where everybody wants to live. That's where everybody wants to, it's cool. It's fun. It's where the headquarters of the biggest gaming companies, Silicon Valley, blah, 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 blah. Does, rapid fire, I got 3 questions to answer out. Does Dubai have a chance to compete on a global scale in the next, I don't want to say 1 year or 2 years, let's just be honest about it. Let's give it some time. In 5 years from now, when people say these are the 5 places in the world that are biggest in gaming, does Dubai show up in that top 5?
I think absolutely does. Dubai, I want to show it in a sense where people can understand perspective, right? Dubai already today has a lot of SME businesses coming in, people from Europe, people from the US, Canada, many countries around the world. There are people moving and living here, right? So a huge SME growth. And in a sense, Sheikh Mohammed bin Rashid has actually said, who's Dubai for? Dubai's for everyone.
Sure.
Right? So there's already...
Gamers included.
Gamers included. So when you talk to me about, gaming, yes, absolutely. Dubai is a huge touristic hub. Dubai, whenever Dubai comes up with events, they know how to run events very well, given whether that's a conference they've made or an exhibition they've made, whether it's in tech, tech, tourism, other industries, whatever it is, right? And the third thing is that eventually, what else did they do very well? Planning. Dubai doesn't plan that we'll do this in 1 year. Dubai plans to do things in 10 years time.
Right.
This initiative, the recent initiative of His Highness Sheikh Hamdan bin Mohammed, it's a 10-year plan. It's a 10-year plan to do 30,000 jobs in the gaming industry, contribute $1 billion of GDP increase in the gaming industry alone to Dubai, right? Just from gaming. And then also creating all these initiatives and education systems that will be thrown to schools, esports, media training related. In fact, even His Highness Sheikh Mohammed bin Rashid himself has actually last year put out an initiative to create a content hub, a content HQ for influencers that will also have a portion for gaming. So when you tell me, is Dubai going to be the place in 5 years? I think yes, absolutely. Because Dubai doesn't plan for a year. Dubai plans long term.
I think that Dubai, number 1, companies like EGA, Esports and Gaming Association, number 2, and the ground level people that are the youth. The old guild MMs. I'm not aging you at all. Okay. You're allowed to stream. No. You're allowed to stream into your 50s for all I care, which is great. We have great streamers and, Dr. Disrespect pushing 40, 50 years or more, almost 50 now. I think. Don't kill me out there. But these 3 people, the country level, the company level, the ground level, the youth, and the new streamers coming up is a very advantageous place for companies like EGA to do their thing. We're dual headquarters in Los Angeles and Dubai. I can't think of a better place to have these 2 dual headquarters. We both travel all around the world. I'll be going to World Championships in Korea. You did go to World Championships in Abu Dhabi. You went to the Saudi Arabia Esports Awards. Cup. You also went to TwitchCon in San Diego, our country. So there's a lot going on. I'm going to wrap this up with saying we'll see you guys on stage in December at the Global Game Show. Again, this was brought to you by Time of Games. I'm very fortunate to be with my partner and good friend, Mohammed Guild MM. Take a look at his stream on Twitch. You can find him at his name on Twitch as well. Like we said, Guild, just the way it's spelled, MM. And you can find us on stage talking more about gaming and esports. Check out His Highness's Sheikh Hamdan's Gaming Initiative 2033. We're going to be learning a lot more about that at the conference and through social media platforms like Mohammed's and my platform. So appreciate you, brother. Long overdue, more to come. And also check out ega.gg and we'll see you more on stage in December. But
Let's do it.
Thank you, brother.
Thank you, bro.